Hey guys, this is like the third or fourth time that I've tried to post this. So let's try it. I got a new ring light. Got a fancy little setup here. So I'm going to attempt to, hopefully, I've recorded this video multiple times. I just can't figure out how to get it on TikTok and you guys be able to see it. So let's do this. I am going to be doing an equation today that is in North Carolina anyway. It's 8th grade. So depending on if you're homeschool, charter school, private school, online school, whatever your education looks like, another state, whatever. But it's going to be around that time, okay? So the two things about equations. One, equations are amazing in that 9 times out of 10 you can check to see if you have the right answer. So if you are taking your time and you are doing it correctly, then there's no reason for you to get them wrong. The other side of that is that equations are the foundation of what comes later in math. So actually you start doing equations when you're like kindergarten and first grade but then it looks like 5 apples plus 4 apples equals how many apples, or the circle plus the square equals this, okay? And then it turns into where they put in variables, and then you're solving for the variables, and then they put in graphs and all the things. So you have to have a good foundation of equations. Equations are my very favorite thing, not gonna lie to you. So kind of excited about this. So let's get going. Okay guys, sorry, I had to take a break to get this set up. So like I said, equations are kind of the most important, the foundation, okay? And they start very simple. This is one that's about midway through your equation journey. You are solving an equation with variables on both sides. Now a variable can be any letter. We're just using X today. And first step has got to get rid of these parentheses, okay? And we're going to do that by distributing, just taking that 5 or whatever number's on the outside of that parentheses and just multiplying it by whatever is on the inside of the parentheses. So we're going to bring the 3x plus 4 down, and then we're basically going to say 5 times x plus 5 times negative 4. Now, 5 times x, they're being multiplied. We don't know what x is, but we know that it is, whatever it is, there are 5 times that number. We're going to write that 5x. Whenever you have a variable and a coefficient or a number and a letter side by side are being multiplied, you can just put them side by side. You do not have to put a multiplication sign in the middle of them. It's understood to be multiplication. Now, positive 5 times negative 4 is going to give me negative 20, which we know as subtract 20, or which looks like subtract 20. So, side note, whenever you are multiplying or dividing integers or positive or negative numbers, if the signs are opposite, in other words, if you have a positive and a negative number, then your answer is going to be negative, or what we think of as subtract. If they're both the same, if they're both positive or they're both negative, then your answer is going to be a positive, what we think of as addition. So that's how we got that negative 20. Now, when you are solving equations, the most important thing to remember is that you are going to do what you do to one side, you have to do to the you have to do to the other. And so we are going to we have to combine the variables, and we have to also then combine your constants. Now, I am a math teacher, so I like to write notes. And at the end, I'm going to kind of, if you want to screenshot this so you have some notes with you, that would be great. It does not matter what side of the equation that your variable is on, and that's important because it kind of gives you a little freedom to answer it or solve it however you want. It gives you that autonomy. I'm going to combine my variables over here so I don't have to deal with negatives, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So we have got to get this, what we call cancel this out, or get rid of this. And we are going to do that by subtracting 3x because that would equal 0. So we have a positive 3x, so we're going to subtract 3x. Remember, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I'm going to subtract 3x from this side. Now, these are going to cancel out, leaving me 0x. I've got that plus 4. And then 5x minus 3x is 2x and we still have that minus 20. Now, because this is 0x, 0, anything times 0 is going to be 0. So we can just cancel that out, erase that. And actually, I'm going to erase this positive sign here also, or this plus sign, because normally when a number is positive and it's kind of like by itself like that 4 is, you don't put the positive sign, okay? So basically now we are left with 4 equals 2x minus 20. So now I have to get my constants on the other side. So same thing, I want this to cancel out or equal 20. So since I have negative 20, I'm going to add 20 to both sides. These are going to cancel out. And I'm going to have 4 plus 20 is 24. And then 2x, and then this would equal 0. But again, I can just erase that 0 because it doesn't change anything. All right, again, remember, anytime you have a number and a letter side by side, it's going to be multiplied. Multiplying is when you're combining a lot of things together, a lot of values together. The opposite of that is when you're splitting them up, and we do that by dividing. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So to undo that multiplication, we're going to divide. 2 divided by 2 is going to cancel out. Technically, it gives us 1x, but 1 doesn't change anything, so we just kind of look at that as equal to x. And 24 divided by 2 is 12. So that's our answer. Now, like I said, the good thing about equations is you can always check your work. And how we do that is I'm saying 12 equals x, then I am saying that those two things are the same value. So in theory, I can go up, and instead of putting x here, I can put a 12 here. And when I work these out, if I'm saying both sides are equal to each other, they should be the same value. So if this is true, when I solve these, this side, whatever number we get on this side is going to be equal to whatever number we get on this side. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm old school, so I always rewrite the problem. 3x plus 4 equals 5 times x minus 4. Okay, so instead of x here, I'm going to put a 12. If you have seen me teach before, you know that I'm big on color changes. That's just how my brain works. And then instead of here, I'm going to put a 12 instead of that x again. 3 times 12 is 36. And 5 times 12 minus 4 is 8. So 36 plus 4 is 40. And 5 times 8 is 40, which means our answer of 12 is correct. Okay, so again, anytime you have an equation, you can always check your answer by plugging what you're saying your variable's worth back into it. And I forgot to take these off. I apologize. So I have solve and then check your work. Okay, so go ahead if you need to take a screenshot of this, and that way you have a guideline of how to do this for future reference. All right, so hopefully that helped you know how to do equations. If you have any questions, let me know. If I need to clarify something, please let me know. I love feedback. I'm new to this aspect of teaching, so I would love to be nice, but I would love to have any feedback. If this helped you, like, comment, follow, share, all the things. Thanks, guys.